Question 1. What was the primary purpose of the Statute of Rhuddlan in 1284? A. To establish English law in Wales. B. To declare war on Scotland. C. To fund the Crusades. D. To reform the English Church. Answer. A. To establish English law in Wales. The Statute of Rhuddlan was enacted to introduce the English legal system to Wales after its conquest by King Edward I. Question 2. Who was the first Plantagenet King of England? A. Richard I. B. Edward I. C. Henry II. D. John. Answer. C. Henry II. Henry II was the first Plantagenet king, coming to the throne in 1154 and ruling until his death in 1189. Question 3. What were the provisions of the Treaty of Union 1707? A. To unite Scotland and England under one government. B. To separate Scotland from England. C. To establish a new currency for England and Scotland. D. To create an alliance against France. Answer. A. To unite Scotland and England under one government. The Treaty of Union 1707 merged the parliaments of Scotland and England, forming the Parliament of Great Britain. Question 4. Name the battle in 1314 where the Scots, under Robert the Bruce, defeated the English. A. The Battle of Falkirk. B. The Battle of Bannockburn. C. The Battle of Stirling Bridge. D. The Battle of Culloden. Answer. B. The Battle of Bannockburn. This significant battle saw Robert the Bruce's forces secure a vital victory over the English during the First War of Scottish Independence. Question 5. Which British philosopher is known for his works on liberalism and social contract theory? A. David Hume. B. John Locke. C. Bertrand Russell. D. Francis Bacon. Answer. B. John Locke. John Locke was instrumental in developing ideas related to liberalism and the social contract, influencing both British constitutional law and modern political thought. Question 6. What did the Reform Act of 1832 achieve in terms of electoral reform? A. Extended the vote to all men and women over the age of 21. B. Abolished the slave trade. C. Broadened the electoral franchise and reformed the distribution of parliamentary seats. D. Established the Labour Party. Answer. C. Broadened the electoral franchise and reformed the distribution of parliamentary seats. The Reform Act of 1832 was a crucial step in the development of the UK's parliamentary democracy, making the electoral system more representative. Question 7. Who were the Levellers, and what did they advocate during the English Civil War? A. A group of poets promoting peace. B. Royalists supporting King Charles I. C. Radicals who wanted to level social inequalities and extend suffrage. D. Merchants advocating for free trade. Answer. C. Radicals who wanted to level social inequalities and extend suffrage. The Levellers were a political movement during the English Civil War advocating for popular sovereignty, extended suffrage, equality before the law, and religious tolerance. Question 8. What was the significance of the Battle of the Somme in World War I? A. It was a decisive victory for British forces. B. It was one of the bloodiest battles of the war, with significant casualties. C. It led to the immediate end of World War I. D. It was a minor skirmish with few casualties. Answer. B. It was one of the bloodiest battles of the war, with significant casualties. The Battle of the Somme is remembered for its heavy losses and limited gains. epitomizing the brutality of World War I. Question 9. In which year did the Great Fire of London occur, and what were its consequences? A. 1066, led to the Norman invasion. B. 1666, led to the rebuilding of much of the city. C. 1566, resulted in the establishment of the London Fire Brigade. D. 1766, sparked major political reforms. Answer. B. 1666, led to the rebuilding of much of the city. The Great Fire of London destroyed much of the medieval city, leading to modern urban planning and building regulations. Question 10. Who was responsible for commissioning the Domesday Book, and what was its purpose? A. Queen Elizabeth I, to assess the economic potential of England. B. King John, to find funding sources for the Magna Carta. C. William the Conqueror, to assess and record the wealth and assets of his realm. D. Henry VIII, to justify the dissolution of the monasteries. Answer. C. William the Conqueror, to assess and record the wealth and assets of his realm. The Domesday Book was a comprehensive survey commissioned by William the Conqueror in 1086 to document the landholdings and resources of England for taxation and administrative purposes. Question 11. What was the primary cause of the English peasants' revolt in 1381? A. Religious reforms imposed by the Church of England. B. High taxes and economic hardships. C. A demand for the abolition of monarchy. D. Disputes over land ownership with France. Answer. B. High taxes and economic hardships. The peasants' revolt was primarily triggered by socio-economic pressures, notably poll taxes, that burdened the peasantry. Question 12. Detail the main outcomes of the Glorious Revolution of 1688. A. The establishment of parliamentary sovereignty over the monarchy. B. The restoration of Catholic supremacy in England. C. The expansion of the British Empire into the Americas. D. The abolition of the feudal system. Answer. A. The establishment of parliamentary sovereignty over the monarchy. The Glorious Revolution led to the ousting of James II and the establishment of William and Mary as co-monarchs, significantly shifting the balance of power towards Parliament. Question 13. Who was Emmeline Pankhurst, and what movement did she lead? A. A novelist who promoted romantic fiction. B. A Queen consort who supported educational reforms. C. A leading figure in the British suffragette movement. D. A scientist who made groundbreaking discoveries in biology. Answer. C. A leading figure in the British suffragette movement. Emmeline Pankhurst was instrumental in the fight for women's suffrage in the UK, known for her militant tactics and leadership of the Women's Social and Political Union, WSPU. Question 14. What role did Britain play in the Treaty of Versailles? A. It was among the principal Allied powers and played a key role in drafting the treaty. B. It opposed the treaty and advocated for leniency towards Germany. C. It had no significant role and was a minor participant. D. It mediated between France and the United States during the negotiations. Answer. A. It was among the principal Allied powers and played a key role in drafting the treaty. Britain, along with France and the United States, was instrumental in shaping the Treaty of Versailles, which formally ended World War I and imposed penalties and territorial losses on Germany. Question 15. What was the main economic impact of the Navigation Acts in the 17th century? A. They liberalized trade with colonies. B. They promoted free trade with European nations. C. They restricted the use of foreign shipping for trade with England and its colonies. D. They decreased the size of the British merchant fleet. Answer C. They restricted the use of foreign shipping for trade with England and its colonies. The Navigation Acts were designed to tighten government control over trade between England, its colonies, and the rest of the world, benefiting English merchants at the expense of rivals. Question 16. Who was the Prime Minister of Britain during the Suez Crisis of 1956? A. Winston Churchill. B. Anthony Eden. C. Harold Macmillan. D. Clement Attlee. Answer B. Anthony Eden. Anthony Eden was the British Prime Minister during the Suez Crisis, which was a diplomatic and military confrontation in Egypt involving Egypt, Israel, France, and the United Kingdom. Question 17. Detail the historical significance of the Chartist movement. A. It was a Victorian-era movement that sought to improve the rights and conditions of workers. B. It advocated for the abolition of the monarchy and the establishment of a republic. C. It was a medieval movement that opposed the feudal system. D. It was a 19th-century movement that aimed for political reforms, including universal male suffrage and the secret ballot. Answer D. It was a 19th-century movement that aimed for political reforms, including universal male suffrage and the secret ballot. The Chartist movement was significant for its role in pressing for democratic reforms in Britain. Question 18. What was the Contagious Diseases Act and why was it controversial? A. It mandated the vaccination of all citizens against smallpox. B. It allowed for the compulsory examination of prostitutes for venereal diseases. C. It established quarantine protocols for contagious diseases. D. It regulated the treatment of animals with diseases. Answer B. It allowed for the compulsory examination of prostitutes for venereal diseases. The Contagious Diseases Acts were controversial because they were seen as discriminatory against women, particularly those in certain professions, and raised issues about personal liberty and moral judgment. Question 19. Who was the first female Member of Parliament to take a seat in the House of Commons? A. Margaret Thatcher. B. Nancy Astor. C. Emmeline Pankhurst. D. Theresa May. Answer B. Nancy Astor. Nancy Astor was the first female Member of Parliament to take a seat in the House of Commons in 1919. Question 20. What was the main significance of the Battle of Britain in 1940? A. It marked the first significant defeat of Hitler's military forces. B. It resulted in the British surrender to German forces. C. It was the longest battle in British history. D. It led directly to the end of World War II. Answer A. It marked the first significant defeat of Hitler's military forces. The Battle of Britain was significant as it thwarted Germany's plans for an invasion of the United Kingdom and marked the first major military campaign won by air forces. Question 21. Explain the significance of the Beveridge Report in shaping post-war Britain. A. It proposed reforms that led to the creation of the welfare state. B. It called for increased military spending. C. It outlined plans to colonize other planets. D. It criticized the government's handling of the war. Answer A. It proposed reforms that led to the creation of the welfare state. The Beveridge Report, published in 1942, outlined a plan for social insurance and welfare that would provide support from cradle to grave, and was instrumental in the establishment of the post-war welfare state in Britain. Question 22. Who was known as the Iron Chancellor, and what was his relationship with Britain? A. Otto von Bismarck. known for his policies that often opposed British interests in Europe. B. Winston Churchill, who led Britain through World War II. C. Neville Chamberlain, noted for his appeasement policies. D. Margaret Thatcher, known for her strong leadership style. Answer: A. Otto von Bismarck, known for his policies that often opposed British interests in Europe. Otto von Bismarck, the Chancellor of Germany, was often in diplomatic opposition to Britain during his efforts to unify Germany and balance European powers. Question 23. What were the main provisions of the Anglo-Irish Treaty of 1921? A. It established Ireland as a fully independent republic. B. It ended the Irish War of Independence and established the Irish Free State as a dominion of the British Empire. C. It joined Ireland and Britain into a single political entity. D. It declared war between Ireland and Britain. Answer: B. It ended the Irish War of Independence and established the Irish Free State as a dominion of the British Empire. The treaty provided for some Irish independence, but left Northern Ireland as part of the United Kingdom, leading to significant political tensions. Question 24. Describe the impact of the Corn Laws on 19th century British agriculture. A. They reduced agricultural productivity. B. They promoted free trade in agricultural products. C. They imposed tariffs on imported grain, protecting British landowners but raising food prices. D. They deregulated the agricultural sector. Answer: C. They imposed tariffs on imported grain, protecting British landowners but raising food prices. The Corn Laws were controversial because they benefited landowners at the expense of consumers and led to widespread economic distress, which contributed to their repeal in 1846. Question 25. What was the purpose of the Royal Proclamation of 1763? A. To declare war on France. B. To establish an absolute monarchy in Britain. C. To organize British territories in North America and pacify relations with Native American tribes. D. To abolish the slave trade. Answer: C. To organize British territories in North America and pacify relations with Native American tribes. The Royal Proclamation of 1763 was issued to stabilize the regions of North America that were newly acquired from France and to manage relations with Native American peoples. Question 26. Who was Charles I, and why was he executed? A. A British king executed for treason after losing the English Civil War. B. A prime minister executed for corruption. C. A general executed for losing a major battle. D. An inventor executed for espionage. Answer: A. A British king executed for treason after losing the English Civil War. Charles I's execution in 1649 was a landmark event in British history, marking a temporary end to monarchy and the establishment of a republican commonwealth. Question 27. What did the Clarendon Code entail? A. It was a series of laws that sought to strictly regulate religious practices in Britain. B. It reformed the education system throughout England. C. It was a new legal code for the colonies in America. D. It outlined economic policies to combat the Great Depression. Answer: A. It was a series of laws that sought to strictly regulate religious practices in Britain. Enacted in the 1660s, the Clarendon Code aimed to enforce conformity to the practices of the Church of England, marginalizing other religious groups. Question 28. During which war was the charge of the Light Brigade, and what was its significance? A. The Crimean War. It was infamous for its mismanagement and high casualties, symbolizing futile heroism. B. World War I. It marked a turning point in trench warfare. C. The Napoleonic Wars. It was a critical victory for British forces. D. The American Revolutionary War. It was a failed tactical operation. Answer A. The Crimean War. It was infamous for its mismanagement and high casualties, symbolizing futile heroism. The charge of the Light Brigade is famously remembered for the bravery of the cavalrymen and the poor military strategy that led to heavy British losses. Question 29. Name the act that formally abolished slavery throughout the British Empire. A. The Emancipation Act of 1833. B. The Slavery Abolition Act of 1833. C. The Freedom Act of 1820. D. The Liberation Act of 1840. Answer B. The Slavery Abolition Act of 1833. This act was a significant milestone in British history, ending slavery across the empire and impacting thousands of enslaved people in the colonies. Question 30. What is the significance of the Council of North in the Tudor period? A. It was established to govern the northern parts of England and maintain control. B. It was a diplomatic body meant to handle relations with Scotland. C. It was a religious council formed to oversee church reforms. D. It served as a royal advisory board on economic matters. Answer A. It was established to govern the northern parts of England and maintain control. The Council of North was set up to ensure Tudor authority in the northern regions, where loyalty to the monarchy was historically weaker. Question 31. Who was known for introducing the seed drill in British agriculture? A. Charles Darwin. B. Isaac Newton. C. Jethro Tull. D. George Stephenson. Answer C. Jethro Tull. Jethro Tull was an agricultural pioneer who invented the seed drill in the early 18th century, revolutionizing farming techniques by improving the efficiency of sowing seeds. Question 32. What are the Pitcairn Islands, and why are they historically significant to the UK? A. They are an uninhabited group of islands used for military testing. B. They are the site of famous naval victory in the Napoleonic Wars. C. They are a British overseas territory, famously settled by mutineers from the HMS Bounty. D. They were discovered by Sir Francis Drake and used as a trading post. Answer C. They are a British overseas territory, famously settled by mutineers from the HMS Bounty. The settlement of the Pitcairn Islands is one of the most intriguing episodes in maritime history, involving the mutiny on the Bounty in 1789. Question 33. Describe the Opium Wars and Britain's role in them. A. Britain fought to protect its opium trade against Chinese efforts to prohibit the drug, leading to significant imperial gains in China. B. Britain opposed the opium trade and helped China eradicate it. C. The wars were a series of conflicts between Britain and India over opium production. D. Britain fought to introduce opium as a medicinal substance in Europe. Answer A. Britain fought to protect its opium trade against Chinese efforts to prohibit the drug, leading to significant imperial gains in China. The Opium Wars in the mid-19th century were marked by conflicts between the British Empire and Qing dynasty China, primarily over trade imbalances and sovereignty. Question 34. Who was the first British monarch of the House of Windsor? A. Queen Victoria. B. King Edward VII. C. King George V. D. Queen Elizabeth II. Answer C. King George V. King George V was the first monarch of the newly named House of Windsor, rebranding the royal family during World War I due to anti-German sentiment. Question 35. What was the impact of the Black Death on the British feudal system? A. It strengthened the power of feudal lords. B. It led to significant labour shortages, undermining the feudal system and leading to social and economic changes. C. It had little to no impact on the feudal system. D. It increased the population and thus the number of serfs. Answer. B. It led to significant labour shortages, undermining the feudal system and leading to social and economic changes. The Black Death dramatically reduced the population, which in turn increased the bargaining power of the peasantry, accelerating the decline of the feudal system. Question 36. Explain the main economic reasons for Britain's involvement in the transatlantic slave trade. A. To meet labour shortages in American colonies and to fuel the economic profitability of colonial plantations. B. To promote humanitarian missions in Africa. C. To compete with France for territorial expansion in Africa. D. To research and document African cultures. Answer. A. To meet labour shortages in American colonies and to fuel the economic profitability of colonial plantations. Britain's involvement in the transatlantic slave trade was largely driven by the demand for labour in sugar, tobacco and cotton plantations, making it a lucrative component of its colonial economy. Question 37. What were the Tolpuddle Martyrs known for in labour history? A. They were leaders of a violent uprising against industrialists. B. They formed one of the first labour unions in England and were arrested for it, becoming symbols of the labour movement. C. They were a group of lawmakers who passed the first labour laws. D. They invented machinery to improve worker safety. Answer. B. They formed one of the first labour unions in England and were arrested for it, becoming symbols of the labour movement. The Tolpuddle Martyrs were agricultural labourers who were persecuted in the 1830s for forming a trade union to protest declining wages, galvanising labour and trade union movements. Question 38. Describe the Peterloo Massacre and its effects on British society. A. It was a peaceful protest that led to the passing of the Reform Act. B. It was a celebratory event marking the end of the Napoleonic Wars. C. It was a violent confrontation during a rally for parliamentary reform, leading to public outrage and political reform. D. It was a battle during the English Civil War. Answer. C. It was a violent confrontation during a rally for parliamentary reform, leading to public outrage and political reform. The Peterloo Massacre occurred in 1819 when cavalry charged into a crowd of protesters, resulting in multiple deaths and injuries, which significantly influenced public opinion and accelerated the push for democratic reform. Question 39. Who were the suffragettes and what did they achieve? A. A group of women who campaigned for the abolition of slavery. B. Female activists who successfully fought for women's right to vote. C. A political party that governed in the early 20th century. D. Artists who focused on themes of gender equality. Answer. B. Female activists who successfully fought for women's right to vote. The suffragettes were members of women's organizations in the late 19th and early 20th centuries who advocated for women's suffrage, the right to vote. Question 40. What was the primary goal of the Jacobite risings? A. To restore James II and his descendants to the British throne. B. To support the establishment of a republic in Britain. C. To promote religious reform in Scotland. D. To oppose the union with Ireland. Answer. A. To restore James II and his descendants to the British throne. The Jacobite risings were a series of uprisings, rebellions, and wars in Great Britain and Ireland aimed at restoring James II of England and VII of Scotland, and later his descendants, to the throne after the Glorious Revolution ousted him in favour of William and Mary. Question 41. How did the Acts of Enclosure affect rural England? A. They improved the living conditions of peasants by providing more land. B. They led to the privatization of common lands, often displacing peasant farmers. C. They reduced the agricultural output of the country. D. They increased biodiversity in rural areas. Answer. B. They led to the privatization of common lands, often displacing peasant farmers. The Acts of Enclosure consolidated fragmented land into larger farms, benefiting landowners but often forcing smallholders and peasants off the land. Question 42. What led to the formation of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland in 1922? A. The unification of the Scottish and English parliaments. B. The dissolution of the union between Great Britain and Ireland, leaving Northern Ireland as part of the UK. C. The military conquest of Ireland by British forces. D. A vote by the Republic of Ireland to join the UK. Answer. B. The dissolution of the union between Great Britain and Ireland, leaving Northern Ireland as part of the UK. The partition of Ireland in 1921 led to the establishment of Northern Ireland as a separate entity within the United Kingdom. Question 43. What are the key features of the British Constitution? A. It is an unwritten constitution made up of statutes, common law, and historical documents. B. It is a single written document adopted in 1776. C. It consists solely of the Magna Carta. D. It is based entirely on European Union laws. Answer. A. It is an unwritten constitution made up of statutes, common law, and historical documents. The UK Constitution is not contained in a single document, but derives from a number of sources that have legal authority. Question 44. Detail the consequences of the British Agricultural Revolution. A. It led to a decrease in agricultural productivity and population growth. B. It caused widespread famine and decreased population. C. It resulted in increased agricultural productivity and contributed to population growth. D. It eliminated the need for agricultural labor, leading to urban depopulation. Answer. C. It resulted in increased agricultural productivity and contributed to population growth. The British Agricultural Revolution introduced various improvements that increased efficiency and output, supporting population growth and urbanization. Question 45. What was the significance of the Highland clearances in Scotland? A. They were a peaceful transition of land use from agriculture to industrial use. B. They involved the mass eviction of tenants in the Scottish Highlands, leading to significant emigration. C. They increased the population in the Highlands. D. They were land reforms that benefited the tenants. Answer. B. They involved the mass eviction of tenants in the Scottish Highlands, leading to significant emigration. The Highland clearances changed the landscape and social structure of the Highlands profoundly. Question 46. Name the treaty that ended the American War of Independence. A. The Treaty of Paris, 1783. B. The Treaty of Versailles. C. The Treaty of Ghent. D. The Treaty of London. Answer. A. The Treaty of Paris, 1783. This treaty recognized the independence of the United States, ending the Revolutionary War. Question 47. What was the impact of the swinging 60s on British society? A. It was a period marked by economic depression and social unrest. B. It led to the decline of the British Empire. C. It was characterized by cultural liberalization and significant social change. D. It resulted in stricter social controls and conservative policies. Answer: C. It was characterized by cultural liberalization and significant social change. The 1960s in Britain were a transformative decade in music, fashion, and attitudes towards social norms. Question 48. Explain the economic impact of the British East India Company. A. It had little to no impact on the British economy. B. It was primarily a cultural institution with no economic functions. C. It played a crucial role in the expansion of British trade in Asia. D. It led to economic isolation of Britain from Asian markets. Answer: C. It played a crucial role in the expansion of British trade in Asia. The British East India Company was instrumental in establishing British trade dominance in India and other parts of Asia. Question 49. Who was Mary Wollstonecraft, and what was her contribution to feminism? A. A political leader who implemented the first women's suffrage law. B. A feminist writer known for her work, A Vindication of the Rights of Woman. C. An artist who portrayed women's roles in society. D. A scientist who discovered the genetic basis of gender. Answer: B. A feminist writer known for her work, A Vindication of the Rights of Woman. Mary Wollstonecraft is considered one of the early pioneers of feminist philosophy. Question 50. What is the significance of the Welsh Act of 1536? A. It separated Wales from England legally and administratively. B. It annexed Wales to the Crown of England and created a single state of England and Wales. C. It granted Wales independence from England. D. It established the Welsh language as the only official language of Wales. Answer: B. It annexed Wales to the Crown of England and created a single state of England and Wales. The Act of Union between England and Wales under Henry VIII integrated Wales into the English legal system. Question 51. Who was the first Lord Protector of the Commonwealth of England? A. Oliver Cromwell. B. Richard Cromwell. C. Charles II. D. William III. Answer: A. Oliver Cromwell. Oliver Cromwell was appointed the first Lord Protector of the Commonwealth following the English Civil War and the execution of Charles I. Question 52. Detail the outcomes of the Battle of Trafalgar. A. It was a defeat that led to the loss of British naval supremacy. B. It confirmed British naval dominance and prevented Napoleon's invasion of Britain. C. It resulted in a peace treaty between Britain and France. D. It marked the beginning of Britain's decline as a world power. Answer: B. It confirmed British naval dominance and prevented Napoleon's invasion of Britain. The Battle of Trafalgar in 1805 was a decisive victory for the British Navy under Admiral Lord Nelson. Question 53. What was the purpose of the Gregorian Calendar Act of 1752? A. To revert back to the Julian calendar. B. To adopt the Gregorian calendar, aligning the British calendar with much of Europe. C. To establish a new British calendar. D. To celebrate British independence from Rome. Answer: B. To adopt the Gregorian calendar, aligning the British calendar with much of Europe. The Act reformed the calendar system to correct discrepancies with the solar year. Question 54. How did the Poor Law Amendment Act of 1834 reform welfare in England and Wales? A. It provided universal health care. B. It abolished all forms of welfare. C. It established workhouses where those unable to support themselves were provided with work and shelter. D. It increased direct payments to the poor. Answer C. It established workhouses where those unable to support themselves were provided with work and shelter. The Act was intended to reduce the cost of looking after the poor as it stopped money going to them and provided accommodation in workhouses. Question 55. Who was the last British monarch of the House of Hanover? A. Queen Victoria. B. Queen Elizabeth II. C. King George III. D. King Edward VII. Answer A. Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria was the last monarch of the House of Hanover, and her reign marked the transition to the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, later renamed the House of Windsor. Question 56. What was the role of the Royal Air Force in World War I? A. It was mainly used for parades and ceremonial flyovers. B. It played a critical role in the defence of the United Kingdom, particularly during the Battle of Britain. C. It was not involved in combat, but provided training for pilots. D. It served as a transport service for the Army. Answer B. It played a critical role in the defence of the United Kingdom, particularly during the Battle of Britain. The RAF was instrumental in gaining air superiority over the German Luftwaffe. Question 57. Explain the significance of the Battle of Agincourt in 1415. A. It resulted in a defeat that ended English claims to the French throne. B. It was a major English victory in the 100 Years' War against France. C. It marked the beginning of the English Civil War. D. It was a peaceful resolution to a trade dispute. Answer B. It was a major English victory in the 100 Years' War against France. The Battle of Agincourt is celebrated for the remarkable victory by an outnumbered English force against a larger French army. Question 58. What were the causes and outcomes of the Wars of the Roses? A. The wars were fought over religious differences and resulted in the establishment of a new church. B. They were dynastic wars for control of the throne of England, leading to the rise of the Tudor dynasty. C. The wars were between England and France and resulted in territorial losses for England. D. They were civil wars in Scotland that had little impact on England. Answer B. They were dynastic wars for control of the throne of England, leading to the rise of the Tudor dynasty. The Wars of the Roses were a series of English civil wars fought between the houses of Lancaster and York that ultimately led to the establishment of the Tudor dynasty with Henry VII. Question 59. Who was Sir Francis Drake, and what was he known for? A. A British poet laureate of the Elizabethan era. B. A British explorer and the first Englishman to circumnavigate the globe. C. A Prime Minister of the UK during the Victorian era. D. A playwright contemporaneous with Shakespeare. Answer B. A British explorer and the first Englishman to circumnavigate the globe. Sir Francis Drake was also known for his role in the defeat of the Spanish Armada. Question 60. Describe the impact of the Gin Act of 1751 on London society. A. It led to an increase in gin consumption and worsened public health. B. It successfully curbed gin consumption and addressed issues of public disorder. C. It had no significant impact on gin consumption or society. D. It outlawed the consumption of all alcoholic beverages. Answer B. It successfully curbed gin consumption and addressed issues of public disorder. The Gin Act of 1751 was part of a series of measures aimed at reducing the consumption of spirits and the social problems associated with excessive drinking in London. Question 61. What was the Sunningdale Agreement and what was its outcome? A. A treaty that established the European Union. B. An agreement that attempted to establish a power-sharing executive in Northern Ireland. C. A pact that ended the British Empire in India. D. A financial regulation that stabilized the British economy in the 1970s. Answer B. An agreement that attempted to establish a power-sharing executive in Northern Ireland. The Sunningdale Agreement of 1973 was an attempt to quell sectarian conflict, but was ultimately unsuccessful due to widespread opposition and a lack of support. Question 62. Explain the historical context and significance of the Winter of Discontent in 1978 to 1979. A. It was a period marked by a series of strikes during a harsh winter, leading to significant changes in British labour laws. B. It referred to a particularly harsh winter that caused widespread famine. C. It was a public relations campaign to promote tourism in Britain. D. It marked a period of intense Cold War espionage activities in London. Answer A. It was a period marked by a series of strikes during a harsh winter, leading to significant changes in British labour laws. The Winter of Discontent led to widespread public dissatisfaction with the government's handling of the economy and labour disputes, contributing to the electoral victory of Margaret Thatcher in 1979. Question 63. Who was Alan Turing, and what was his contribution during World War I? A. A British general known for his strategic victories in North Africa. B. A mathematician who played a pivotal role in breaking the German Enigma code. C. A diplomat who negotiated peace treaties with Axis powers. D. A journalist who reported from the front lines. Answer B. A mathematician who played a pivotal role in breaking the German Enigma code. Alan Turing's work at Bletchley Park was crucial in deciphering intercepted coded messages, which helped the Allies gain a significant advantage over the Axis powers. Question 64. What was the main reason for the establishment of the Bank of England in 1694? A. To manage the royal family's personal wealth. B. To act as a private investment bank for the aristocracy. C. To finance a war against France by issuing government bonds. D. To control the import and export of gold and silver. Answer C. To finance a war against France by issuing government bonds. The Bank of England was established as a central bank to help the government manage debt and raise funds for war efforts, marking the beginning of modern central banking. Question 65. Detail the main causes of British decolonisation post-World War II. A. Economic prosperity in the colonies and the desire for independence. B. Military defeats in the colonies and international pressure. C. The financial strains of World War II and rising nationalist movements in the colonies. D. A decision by the United Nations to dissolve all empires. Answer C. The financial strains of World War II and rising nationalist movements in the colonies. The economic difficulties of maintaining the empire and the increased push for self-governance from the colonies led Britain to gradually grant independence to most of its overseas territories. Question 66. What was the Balfour Declaration and what did it entail? A. It declared British support for a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. B. It was an agreement to give Ireland full independence from the UK. C. It outlined the British plan to invade Normandy during World War II. D. It established the Commonwealth of Nations. Answer A. It declared British support for a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. The Balfour Declaration of 1917 was a letter from British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour to Baron Rothschild, expressing the British government's support for a Jewish homeland in Palestine, while also stating that nothing should undermine the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities. Question 67. What role did the Magna Carta play in limiting the powers of the British monarch? A. It abolished the monarchy in Britain. B. It was a significant early step in curbing the absolute power of the king, emphasizing the rule of law. C. It declared all royal decrees null and void. D. It served as purely symbolic with no real impact. Answer. B. It was a significant early step in curbing the absolute power of the king, emphasizing the rule of law. The Magna Carta, signed in 1215, established that the king was subject to the law, not above it, which was crucial in the development of constitutional and parliamentary governance. Question 68. Describe the impact of the Bloody Sunday incident in Northern Ireland. A. It was a peaceful protest that led to significant political reforms. B. It involved a violent incident in 1972 where British soldiers shot civil rights protesters, escalating the Northern Ireland conflict. C. It marked the end of violence in Northern Ireland. D. It celebrated the signing of the Good Friday Agreement. Answer. B. It involved a violent incident in 1972 where British soldiers shot civil rights protesters, escalating the Northern Ireland conflict. Bloody Sunday was a turning point that intensified the conflict and increased support for nationalist groups like the IRA. Question 69. What was the role of the Home Guard during World War I? A. They served as an offensive force on the European mainland. B. They were a ceremonial guard unit with no real military role. C. They were a civilian volunteer force that supported the British Army in defending the UK from invasion. D. They were involved in espionage activities against the Axis powers. Answer. C. They were a civilian volunteer force that supported the British Army in defending the UK from invasion. The Home Guard consisted of local volunteers who were otherwise ineligible for military service, playing a key role in Britain's domestic defence. Question 70. Explain the significance of the Statute of Westminster 1931. A. It granted complete legislative independence to the dominions of the British Empire. B. It merged the colonies into a single administrative unit. C. It outlawed the slave trade throughout the British Empire. D. It established the Church of England as the state church. Answer. A. It granted complete legislative independence to the dominions of the British Empire. The Statute of Westminster marked a significant point in the development of the Commonwealth, recognising the autonomy of dominions like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand.